how do I encourage, or what's the most effective way to get the guys to bring people that may not be believers, or that are, you know, like in Rick Warren's purpose-driven church, you have the outer circle, inner circle, outer circle. How do we draw that outer circle closer together? Is it better just to do like a regular Bible study where we're reading scripture, or is it better to use like say Francis Chan for 6 weeks, or you know, what are the methods that are most effective for making that group grow and become more dynamic?
Well, what are you doing right now?
Right now we've just been doing regular scripture readings, just kind of going through the scriptures, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians.
So is this a church? Is this all guys from one church, or is it multiple?
It's not church affiliated. It's just guys that were believers that decided to start getting together and have a study. And we're having a problem attracting youth.
Sure.
Because we're all gray hair, bald.
Sure. Sure. Well, what do you like most about that group? Why do you like going? So what time does it meet?
We meet at 6:30.
Why do you get up at 6:30 and go to that group?
No, not in the morning, in the evening. On Thursday evening afterward.
Why do you take an evening and go to that group? Why?
Well, I go for spiritual enrichment. It's also a group where we discuss, we're very intimate, like you said. I think one of the things that when you were talking about open groups and closed groups, one of the things that is a detriment to open groups is the lack of anonymity, and the idea that, hey, what I say here, you're not supposed to be out there talking about it.
Sure, confidentiality.
Yeah, that's one of the things
that kept close to the vest. So.
Yeah, and I think because the older members are so intimate, they don't want to invite new people because they're afraid of that.
Sure. Yeah, great question. You know, celebrate what you've got. You've got this group of guys that knows each other. I guess I'd think of that and say, you know, you're trying to do two things. And so maybe if you're trying to do something with guys, maybe that group of guys could do something maybe you could do, hey, let's do a dinner, let's do a event. Maybe that kind of thing's going to capture the young guys. Or, you know, I had lunch with a guy yesterday, and I was like, I see you're not plugged into the groups right now. What does it look like? They've got 5 kids under the age of 6, and so I just asked him. It's like, well, what does it look like for you to get involved? You know, so go to, maybe you have a young guy, go ask a young guy. You know, and it's all right to, I guess that's what I'd do if I was in your situation. I'd celebrate what you have, and I'd talk with those guys and say, what kind of ways could we do something that would be engaging for the younger guys? Or younger, and maybe that's a monthly, quarterly kind of an outreach type of a thing, where you're going to get guys, and then from that, maybe those guys you're creating a pathway, you know, so, you know, if I'm 32 years old, which I'm not, and I don't know, am I going to sign up to go to your group if I tell me about the group? Well, we've been meeting about 4 years and we studied the Bible. I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But if they build a relationship and then they came once, they might go, wow, that was pretty cool actually. And so maybe you're even getting into the mentoring idea or the discipleship idea. And so celebrate what you have and then talk with those guys and say, well, maybe there's a creative way we could invite these young guys to events or opportunities to build a relationship with them and just outreach to them. Yeah.
I was thinking if that group would individually find a person that
Sure.
they could connect with and then slowly bring that person in one at a time.
Sure. Or those guys, you know, maybe those guys look at mentoring, and I'm thinking about this too, you know, people need small groups in the church, some other connection other than Sunday morning.
That's right.
and you know, and a group of 10 to 12, 10 to 15, and then that group needs to multiply after it break. You know, if you get up to 20, that's not ideal. You know, somehow you have to make some hard questions about seeing a new person to lead and dividing it when a group births another group and celebrating that. That's that group of the 12 disciples were in a small group with Jesus. There was this group of 3, and making disciples and mentoring, I think, is a whole nother workshop. But that's the Peter, James, and John having time with Jesus in a group of 3 or 4 and what that looks like. And you know, so maybe you guys are mentoring each other, and what does that mentoring look like? And I don't know. Good question. Good question. We certainly don't have all the answers, but maybe there's some ideas. Anybody else have a group situation you'd like to mention? Yeah.
What did the guy tell you yesterday?
You're not.